Hello everyone, before we begin today's video, I need your help. We've noticed that the channel is losing traction, and subscribing is one of the best ways you can help us. It's quick, free, and allows us to continue bringing you great content. Your support means everything. Let's keep this channel growing collectively. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Enjoy the story. Let's go back to the main character. The chandelier sparkled like a constellation above a sea of black suits and satin gowns. It was the annual McCaffrey Foundation Gala. Cameras clicked. Waiters glided past with champagne flutes. And at the center of it all, stood him Adrian Black, CEO of the 900 million Blackwell Group. Cold, charismatic, and infamously impossible to please. And now, the host declared, a few words from our beloved sponsor Mr. Black. Applause echoed. Adrian stepped up to the mic. His tux impeccable. His voice steady. Tonight, we celebrate more than charity. We celebrate responsibility. And then crash. A silver tray clanged to the marble floor. 2 champagne glasses shattered like fireworks. Heads turned. A girl maybe mid-20s froze like a deer in headlights. Her name tag read Emily. Her mop bucket stood traitorously behind her. One heel slipped again. Oh no. She reached down to pick up the tray and knocked over a candelabra. Someone gasped. A camera flash caught her face in full panic. Another caught the CEO's. Adrian turned. His eyes narrowed. That's enough, he said, calm but lethal. Who let hotel staff into the main? I'm not hotel staff, Emily blurted. I was told to clean the VIP section and the VIPs kinda overflowed. A few guests chuckled nervously. Emily adjusted her ponytail with shaking fingers, then tried to step back only to knock into a passing waiter, sending hors d'oeuvres flying across a senator's lap. Oh, for gods, someone whispered. A silence swept the ballroom. Adrian took a slow breath. Clean it up, he muttered, turning back to the mic. But just before he could continue, Emily crouched and mumbled, that number you said about donations? The math's off by 6 zeros. Adrian paused. He turned. What did you say? Everyone stared. Emily bit her lip. You said 900,000, but if 10 of ticket sales goes to the fund, and each seat here is 5,000, with 400 guests that's 2 million. Not 900,000. The room froze. Adrian blinked. Emily stood, quietly, with her hands behind her back. Her cheeks were red. Her shoes were scuffed. But her voice? Steady. Just thought, you'd want to check before someone tweets it. No one moved. Adrian lowered the mic. Wait here, he said. But it wasn't a request. It was something else entirely. Something like interest. Or, the beginning of a problem he didn't see coming. A minute later, Emily found herself standing in the hallway outside the ballroom. Still holding the empty tray. Still trying to figure out if she was fired or promoted. Footsteps approached. Adrian Black, still in his tux, adjusted his cufflinks without looking at her. How did you know the numbers were wrong? He asked. Emily blinked. I count things. A lot. When you live paycheck to paycheck, you count everything. Calories. Pennies. Guests. He didn't laugh. She didn't expect him to. He studied her like she was a spreadsheet that didn't quite balance. What's your name? Emily. Emily Torres. Last name matters? Only when applying for scholarships I never got. Adrian raised an eyebrow. Are you always like this? Clumsy? Yes. Honest? Trying. Silence again. Then, come with me. Wait, am I in trouble? No. You're late. Late for what? He didn't answer. He was already walking. Emily followed, confused, holding her cleaning gloves like they were sacred relics. They stopped outside a private lounge. He opened the door. Inside leather chairs, gold fixtures, two men in suits waiting. Gentlemen, Adrian said, Miss Torres will be joining this discussion. What? She whispered. Adrian glanced at her. You interrupted my speech. Now finish it. She froze. Excuse me? You corrected my numbers in front of 2 senators and a governor. Let's see if your logic holds. Emily's heart raced. The 2 men inside gave her skeptical glances. One muttered, "Is this a joke?" Adrian ignored them. He handed her the iPad from the table. Review the projections. Then speak. She looked at the screen. Graphs. Margins. Funding ratios. Her brain screamed, run. But her hands were steady. Emily took a breath, pointed to a column. These are annual projections, but the gala's donations are quarterly. You're comparing apples to overhyped pears. Adrian didn't blink. The older man in the chair frowned. How do you know that? Emily shrugged. I used to major in finance. Until tuition outran my dishwashing shifts. The second man leaned in. So what are you now? She smiled. Currently? Champagne splashing, candelabra destroying, part-time cleaner. The room went quiet. Then Adrian said, she's right. We've been calculating based on flawed assumptions. One of the suits nodded slowly. We'll revise it before Monday. Emily exhaled, realizing only then how long she'd been holding her breath. As the men left, Adrian looked at her again. Same sharp eyes. But softer now. Curious. You're wasted on bleach and mops, he said. Emily grinned. Don't tell my supervisor. She already thinks I'm slacking. You ever think about applying for something bigger? All the time. I just don't usually get past the lobby. Adrian nodded once. Be in my office. Monday. 8 a.m. She blinked. To clean? No. To explain what the hell just happened tonight. He walked away. Emily stood alone. Still holding her gloves. Still unsure if this was real life or the weirdest fever dream of her minimum wage career. She looked down at the iPad still in her hand. Smudged with fingerprints. And maybe, just maybe, possibilities. Emily showed up at 7:59 a.m. Not because she was scared to be late. But because she knew being exactly 1 minute early was her way of saying, I'm not scared. But I'm serious. The security guard almost didn't let her in. She was still wearing her cleaning shoes. Same jeans from yesterday. Hair tied in a loose bun. You sure you're on the list? The guard asked. Emily smiled. Nope. But let's find out. 32 floors up, the elevator chimed open. Blackwell Group's HQ looked like a spaceship disguised as a law firm. Glass. Chrome. Silence. Every employee was dressed like they had walked off a fashion catalog. Emily walked past them with a folder full of printed spreadsheets and a pen she borrowed from the front desk. She stopped in front of Adrian Black's office. The door opened before she knocked. You're on time, Adrian said. No smile. No emotion. I'm poor. Time is the one thing I can't afford to waste. He gestured to a chair. Emily sat carefully, like the furniture might judge her. Adrian slid a folder across the desk. This is the event breakdown from last night. What do you see? Emily opened it. Color-coded charts. Pie graphs. Projections. She squinted. You guys love circles, huh? He didn't respond. She kept reading. This section's too optimistic. It assumes 100 pledge collection, but gala donors are flaky. And these logistics costs too high. Someone's getting scammed on lighting rentals. Adrian leaned back in his chair. Watching her. Not interrupting. Just watching. You're fast, he said. I'm hungry. There was a pause. Then he added, you speak like someone who knows the floor plans of rock bottom. Emily tilted her head. I've cleaned them. The silence lingered. Then he said, I'm offering you a trial position. 3 weeks. Analyst assistant. No guarantees. Emily blinked. Do I still get to clean bathrooms on the side? That's up to you. She stood up. Then I accept. I'll mess it up, probably. But with style. As she walked out, she passed 2 assistants whispering near the break room. That's her, one said. The cleaner? No way she lasts a week, the other muttered. Emily didn't stop walking. But she did smile. Because she'd heard that line before. And every time, she'd made it just a little further. This time she had a reason to stay. Emily sat at her new desk just outside Adrian Black's glass office surrounded by silence, white walls, and people who pretended not to stare. She placed her used, slightly cracked laptop on the desk. No fancy mouse. No wireless keyboard. Just a pencil stuck behind her ear and determination in her chest. At 8:10, Adrian stepped out, holding a stack of contracts. He placed them on her desk. Color code these by region, urgency, and department. Emily blinked. Cool. Any preferences for colors? He raised an eyebrow. It's not a kindergarten craft table. She smiled. Then I'll use adult crayons. He didn't laugh. Of course he didn't. By 9:30, she had built an entirely new color system. Red for legal deadlines. Yellow for PR disasters. Blue for, this can wait until the apocalypse. At 9:45, a sharply dressed blonde walked by, heels clicking like threats. She stopped and smirked. You must be the intern. Emily looked up. Assistant. But I answer to coffee orders too. Chloe. Executive VP of Operations. If you get anything wrong, I'll know. Emily nodded politely. Nice to meet you. I'm up with both hands, so I can multitask. Chloe narrowed her eyes, but didn't reply. At 11:00, Emily accidentally spilled her highlighter over Adrian's appointment calendar. She gasped, tried to blot it with her sleeve smearing neon pink over a board meeting time slot. Adrian walked out a second later. What happened? Emily held up the ruined page. The calendar wanted to be more vibrant? He stared. She braced herself. Then took a breath. Print a new one. And try not to decorate anything else. She exhaled. Yes, sir. No more office art. At lunch, she sat alone in the break room with a microwaved burrito and a spreadsheet. She scribbled ideas on the back of a napkin, optics versus data integrity gala report notes. Halfway through a bite, she heard a voice. You're still here? Adrian stood at the door. Emily nodded. It's quiet when everyone else leaves. I like it. He looked at her, then at the burrito. That your idea of fine dining? She held it up. Gourmet. Gas station edition. Adrian almost smiled. Almost. Then turned away. You corrected $1 million pitch this morning. And you're eating that? Emily shrugged. I used to eat cereal with water. This is an upgrade. He didn't respond. But he lingered. And for a second, something shifted. Not pity. Not admiration. Something in between. When he left, Emily sat back, eyes on her burrito. She whispered, I don't belong here. But the napkin with scribbled data said otherwise. And deep down, she knew this was her moment to prove it. By Friday, Emily had survived 4.5 days. 3 spilled coffees, 2 missed calls, 1 almost fire alarm, don't ask. And yet, she was still there. The whispers hadn't stopped though. She won't last. She probably cried in the bathroom already. She's just a phase, Adrian gets bored. But Emily kept showing up. Same cracked laptop. Same frizzy ponytail. Same stubborn smile. That morning, Adrian handed her a proposal draft. Proofread this before noon. Legal's in panic mode. She nodded. On it. Then added, want me to add sparkles? Just for flair. He stared. She grinned. He didn't. Typical. At 11:45, Emily placed the revised proposal on his desk. He scanned the first page. Then looked up. You rewrote section 3. I didn't like the tone, she said. It felt defensive. Adrian blinked. It's a legal disclaimer. And still sounded like someone apologizing for existing. I added numbers. Stronger verbs. Less maybe, more we know what we're doing. He read a few more lines. Then nodded just once. Emily didn't smile this time. But she did scribble a silent win in her notepad. At 2:00 p.m., Chloe stopped by again. She leaned on Emily's desk with too much perfume and too little patience. You're making waves. Emily glanced up. Waves? Like the ocean or gossip? Chloe smiled thinly. Careful. Adrian doesn't keep people long. I noticed, Emily replied. You've been here what, 6 months? Chloe's eyes narrowed. Emily continued, sweet as sugar. I mean, impressive. You must be doing something right. Chloe stood up straight, chin tight. Don't get comfortable. Emily waited until she walked off before whispering to herself, too late. At 5:01, everyone rushed out like it was a fire drill. Emily stayed behind. As usual. She was reorganizing Adrian's chaotic desktop folders when he walked in, surprised. You're still here. She nodded. Trying to make your desktop less terrifying. I like it chaotic. That explains your password being 123 Blackwell. He stopped mid-step. That's not, it was. I changed it to something more secure. Don't worry. I left you a hint. He frowned. A hint? She handed him a sticky note. What would Emily name her cat? Adrian stared. I don't even know if you have a cat. Exactly, she smiled. Security. He let out a short breath, half sigh, half amusement? Maybe. For a moment, neither of them said anything. Then Adrian asked, why are you really here? Emily blinked. To fix your desktop. No. Here. In this job. She hesitated. Then said softly, because for once, someone didn't laugh when I spoke up. Silence. Not awkward. Just real. Adrian nodded once. Be here Monday. 8 a.m. sharp. I'm assigning you to the gala report team. Emily froze. That team was serious. VIP level. I'm not qualified. Neither were half the people already on it, he said, walking away. Difference is, you know that. As the door closed behind him, Emily stood still. Same frizzy ponytail. Same cracked laptop. But suddenly, the air felt different. Less borrowed. More earned. Monday, 7:58 a.m. Emily stood outside the glass conference room, clutching her notepad like it was body armor. Inside, 4 team members in suits sipped lattes and scrolled on tablets. They looked like they were born with Bluetooth in their ears. The door opened. Chloe. Of course. You're late, she said, even though Emily was 2 minutes early. Emily just smiled. Time is a social construct. Chloe didn't laugh. Adrian asked for a draft of the revised gala impact summary. You have until 11. She stepped aside. Try not to embarrass the carpet. Inside, Emily found her seat. It didn't have her name on it. Just a post-it that said temp. She sat anyway. At 8:03, Adrian walked in. He didn't say good morning. He didn't introduce her. He simply nodded toward the screen. Numbers. Let's go. The presentation started. Charts. Revenue. Pledges. Cost breakdown. When Chloe's slide came up, Emily tilted her head. The data was clean. Too clean. Like someone had shaved off the rough edges. Adrian stared at the screen. Projected ROI? Chloe answered quickly. Estimated 18.4, based on current partnerships and confirmed renewals. Emily hesitated. Then raised her hand. Everyone turned. Chloe blinked. Yes. Emily? Emily stood. Sorry, but that 18.4 is based on a best-case scenario. The renewal contracts aren't signed. Just verbal. Adrian narrowed his eyes. Are you sure? Emily nodded. Page 3 of the legal update fine print says pending review. That's not confirmation. Silence. Chloe's smile tightened. Well, thank you, Emily, she said, voice sugary. We wouldn't want to oversell. Emily sat down. Adrian didn't say anything. But he didn't need to. The next slides went by fast. At 10:57, the team dispersed. Adrian stayed behind. He looked at Emily. You read the legal brief? She shrugged. I like the fine print. It's where the truth hides. He paused. Then said, good catch. Emily blinked. That was praise? From him? Before she could process it, Chloe returned. Quick word, Emily? In the hallway, Chloe's smile vanished. You made me look unprepared. No, Emily said calmly. I made the report look honest. Chloe stepped closer. You have no idea how this place works. Emily met her eyes. Maybe. But numbers don't care about politics. Chloe leaned in. He'll get tired of you. They always do. Emily whispered back, maybe. But while I'm here, I'm going to make it count. That afternoon, back at her desk, Emily found a sticky note on her monitor. One word, solid. No name. No handwriting. Just typed. But she knew who it was from. And for the first time since she'd started, she let herself believe she wasn't just surviving here. She was starting to belong. Wednesday morning. Emily was standing in the elevator with a half-broken stapler in one hand and a to-do list in the other. By now, she'd learned the floors. The personalities. The snack drawer hierarchy. But she hadn't yet learned how to avoid awkward elevator rides. Especially not with Adrian. When he stepped in, the air changed. Not colder. Just sharper. He pressed 32 without looking at her. Emily cleared her throat. Morning. Adrian nodded once. Silence. Then she held up the stapler. You know this thing's older than my student debt? He glanced over. It jammed again. I think it's trying to unionize. That earned a breath, half exhale, half laugh. When the doors opened, he said, get a new one. Bill it. Emily blinked. Wait. I'm allowed to bill? Within reason. She grinned. So, no espresso machine and nap pod? Don't push it. He walked off. But his pace was slower than usual. That afternoon, Emily was deep in spreadsheet hell when Adrian appeared at her desk. He didn't say hello. Just dropped a thick folder in front of her. Need your eyes on this. She opened it. Data sets. Stakeholder briefs. Event breakdowns. This for the board? She asked. No. Press conference Friday. Emily's eyebrows shot up. I thought PR handled those. They do, he said. But PR didn't save us from a math scandal in front of 2 senators. She stared at the folder. Then at him. You trust me with this? I trust facts. You usually find them. No smile. No compliments. Just respect. It was enough. Okay, she said. But if I mess this up, I want it on record that you voluntarily gave me power. He didn't respond. Just walked away. Typical. By 7 p.m., the office was empty except for one light. Emily's. She leaned over her desk, red pen between her teeth, cross-referencing impact stats with PR statements. At 7:12, her phone buzzed. A text from a number she didn't save, but already knew, check page 12 again. The forecast's been updated. She flipped to the page. He was right. Emily typed back, you're fast. 3 dots. Then, you're late. I expected you to find it first. She smiled. There was no emoji. No flirtation, just a strange rhythm they were falling into. Data. Dry wit. Mutual insomnia. By 8:30, she stood to stretch. Her eyes burned. Her back ached. But her notes were sharp. Her edits clear. She looked around the dark office. Then whispered to herself, I think I actually belong here. Behind her, on Adrian's desk, his laptop screen still glowed. Open spreadsheet. Her name in the version history. 2 letters beside it, ET. She didn't know he left it that way on purpose. But he did. Friday. Press conference day. The office buzzed like a shaken soda can. Stylists hovered. PR reps rehearsed. Interns nearly sprinted in heels. And in the middle of it all, Emily sat quietly, scrolling through the final speech draft. Chloe walked past in a designer suit that probably cost more than Emily's rent. Oh, she said with a sweet smile. Didn't realize assistants got invited to media events now. Emily didn't look up. We also get free coffee. But only if we survive the week. Chloe smirked and walked away. Emily returned to the speech draft. One line bugged her. Community engagement will be increased through active strategic pipelines, she frowned. Too stiff. Too corporate. Too meaningless. She crossed it out and rewrote, we'll show up where it matters because good ideas mean nothing without people behind them. She stared at the sentence. Simple. But true. By noon, the conference room transformed into a media stage. Lights. Microphones. Branded backdrops. Adrian stood near the podium, flipping through note cards. He didn't seem nervous. But Emily noticed the tightness in his jaw. The way his fingers tapped the edge of the podium. He looked up when she approached. "Final edits," she said, handing him a printed version. He read silently. Paused at the rewritten sentence. "This wasn't in the original." "Nope." "You changed my closing?" "Technically, I simplified your jargon." Adrian studied her. Then looked back at the page. And kept it. She didn't know whether to cheer or panic. At 1:00 p.m., the room filled with press. Adrian stepped up. Flashes went off. Questions flew. He handled each one with precision. Then came the final statement. He glanced once at Emily standing at the back, behind a fake ficus plant. Then read her line. Word for word. "We'll show up where it matters because good ideas mean nothing without people behind them." The room went still, a second of quiet admiration. Then thunderous applause. Emily's heart thudded in her chest. She looked down at her scuffed, old, still stained from her cleaning days. But at that moment, she felt 10 feet tall. After the event, Adrian passed her in the hallway. No smile. No praise. Just a quiet, "Good line." She nodded. "Thanks for not butchering it." He stopped. "Want to write more?" "Depends. Do I get a chair with lumbar support?" A pause. Then something close to a smirk. "We'll discuss it Monday." He kept walking. Emily leaned against the wall, letting the weight of the moment sink in. She had written a line, and the millionaire had read it. On camera. To the world. No one laughed. No one called her the cleaner. And for the first time she didn't feel like she was faking it. She felt seen. Monday morning. Emily walked into the office wearing the same oversized blazer she bought at Goodwill 3 years ago. But something had changed. People nodded at her now. Not all of them. Not warmly. But they noticed. That was new. At her desk, there was a folder. Plain. No note. Just a single word on the tab copy. Inside? Drafts of upcoming press releases. Emails from PR, scripts for Adrian's next speech. She blinked. Then noticed a post-it stuck to the last page. Typed. As always. Let's see how your edits hold up when the stakes are higher. Her heart skipped. Not because it was flattering. But because it meant he was serious. By noon, she was deep in rewrites when Chloe passed by again. "I saw your line made it into the news recap," she said, voice like honey over ice. Emily kept typing. Cool. You're not in PR, though. Or marketing. Or anything, really. I'm in the "try not to get fired this week" department, Emily replied. Chloe stepped closer. Just a tip. This place loves novelty. But it forgets fast. Emily paused. Then looked up. Thanks. I'll write that on my coffee mug. Chloe walked off. But not before tossing, "Adrian's attention never lasts. Don't confuse utility with favor." That one stuck. Emily didn't show it. But the sentence played on loop for the rest of the afternoon. By 6:00 p.m., Adrian's office door opened. He stepped out, holding 2 cups of coffee. He handed her one without a word. She raised an eyebrow. No poison? He shook his head. Too expensive. She sipped. It was perfect. Not office bitter. Real coffee, from somewhere that had ambience. Adrian leaned on the edge of her desk. Unusual. People are asking who you are. Emily took another sip. And what do you tell them? That you used to mop this hallway. She laughed. Bold choice. They don't believe me. Because it's ridiculous. Because you're good. Emily stared at him. No jokes. No sarcasm. Just a sentence that made the air feel heavier. Adrian looked away. If you want a permanent position in my team, you'll have to take the test. What test? Tomorrow. 9 a.m. boardroom. Internal pitch. I want to see how you hold up under pressure. She blinked. You mean like, with people? Yes. People who make hiring decisions. Budgets. PR calls. She hesitated. What if I fail? Adrian looked directly at her. Then you fail. But not because I didn't give you the shot. He walked back to his office. Left the door half open. Emily sat back in her chair. The coffee still warm in her hands. The future suddenly real. Tomorrow wasn't just a test. It was a chance to rewrite her entire story. Tuesday. 8:57 a.m. Emily stood outside the boardroom gripping her notes like they were life preservers. Inside 6 executives, 2 VPs, 1 legal rep, and Adrian Black. No pressure. Her blazer felt tighter today. Or maybe that was just anxiety. She checked her reflection in the glass wall. Hair okay. Shoes cleanish. Eyes wide enough to catch flies. The door opened. A tall man in gray said, "We're ready." Emily stepped in. No one smiled. They didn't need to. They weren't here for charm. They were here to see if the girl with the mop bucket belonged at the table. Adrian sat at the head, unreadable as always. She took her place by the screen. Cleared her throat. Good morning. My name is Emily Torres, and today I'm going to tell you why we've been underestimating our own brand. Click. First slide, the story people actually remember. She started slow. Stats. Comparisons. Market reactions after the gala. Then she got braver. See, what went viral wasn't the press release, she said. It was a moment. A sentence. A cleaner correcting a millionaire. Some eyebrows rose. She didn't flinch. People don't follow perfect brands. They follow real ones. Ones that make mistakes, admit it, and move better. She glanced at Adrian. He didn't blink. Just listened. She closed with, "We don't need shinier numbers. We need a clearer voice. I think I can help shape that." Silence. Then murmurs. Then someone coughed. The tall guy in gray said, "You're not in PR?" Emily smiled. No, sir. Technically, I was hired to color code contracts and avoid spilling things. A beat. Then someone chuckled. Another nodded. Then Adrian stood. Thank you, Emily. We'll deliberate. She nodded, heart pounding, then stepped out. 10 minutes later, she was back at her desk. No text. No clue. Just the high of surviving something brutal. Then a ping. Email from Adrian Black, subject room 14B. 3 p.m. body you passed. Let's talk next steps. Emily read it twice. Then again. She sat back, stunned. Not because she didn't think she could do it. But because someone like him just said she did. At 3 p.m., she walked into room 14B. Adrian was already there, jacket off, sleeves rolled. Congratulations, he said simply. Thanks. I think I'm still sweating. You should be. She Saturday, so what's next? You'll report to me. Title Strategic Communications Assistant. She raised an eyebrow. That's a lot of syllables. He smirked. You'll get a raise. Real desk. Access to everything. Even the espresso machine? He deadpanned. No, Emily grinned. He leaned forward slightly. You've earned this. Not because of one good idea. But because you kept showing up. Her throat tightened. She didn't expect that. Not the praise. Not the softness in his voice. Thank you, she whispered. He nodded. And for a real moment they just sat there. Boss and assistant. Millionaire and ex-cleaner. And something in between. Wednesday. Week 3. Emily had a nameplate now. A new desk. New login. A badge that didn't say temp, but not everything was shiny. Because success comes with shadows. At 9:15 a.m., Chloe walked into the office kitchen and accidentally spilled coffee all over the fridge. Then loudly asked who forgot to clean it up. At 9:17, someone misplaced Emily's draft folder twice. By 930, she overheard her name followed by the word favoritism. She tried to shrug it off. But the whispers had weight. That afternoon, Adrian asked her to join a closed-door brainstorm with department heads. As she stood to follow him in, someone muttered behind her, "Guess mops are the new MBAs." She pretended not to hear. But her hands were shaking when she took her seat. The meeting started slow, ideas were tossed, graphs presented. Then Adrian looked at her. "Emily, thoughts?" All eyes turned. She cleared her throat. "The campaign tone is strong but too polished. People don't want another polished billionaire speech. They want someone real." Someone scoffed. "Chloe. Define real," she said. "Last I checked, you weren't in consumer research." Emily didn't blink. "Last I checked, consumer research still used social listening. Which I pulled this morning." She slid a chart across the table. Adrian scanned it. So did the others. Numbers. Comments. Data. Clear as daylight. Chloe went quiet. Adrian nodded once. "We'll revise." The meeting moved on. But something shifted. Subtle. But real. Emily had spoken, and no one laughed. No one dismissed. Even Chloe didn't bite again. After the meeting, Adrian pulled her aside. "You held your ground." Emily exhaled. "I almost puked." "You didn't." She grinned. "Next goal, not sweating through my shirt." He didn't smile. But his voice was low when he said, "You're doing well. Don't let the noise distract you." She froze. Because he'd heard it too. The whispers. The jabs. He knew. And he said it mattered, less than her work. That night, Emily sat at her desk late, tapping her pen against a takeout box. She opened a blank document. Typed the title, "How to Stay Visible Without Being a Target." Deleted it. Then typed, "How to Win Without Losing Yourself." Left it. She sat back. Adrian's office light was still on. He hadn't left either. Different lives. Different worlds. But maybe not so far apart after all. Thursday morning started with a storm. Not the weather. Worse. PR storm. A journalist leaked internal data from the gala. Numbers taken out of context. Twisted headlines. By 8:20 a.m., the office was chaos. Phones ringing. Emails firing. People talking over each other. Emily walked into it like a lifeguard into rough waves, steady, eyes open. Adrian's voice cut through the noise. "Emergency meeting. Now." Inside the boardroom, the mood was ice. Legal was tense. PR panicking. Chloe smug. This could spiral, one exec said. The cleaner story was cute. Now it's a liability. Emily sat silent. Until Adrian turned to her. Can we flip this? She met his eyes. Steady. Then nodded. We can't hide it, she said. But we can own it. Someone scoffed. Own that we misrepresented numbers? No, Emily said calmly. Own that we're transparent. That we corrected mistakes. That we're not afraid to admit and adapt. She passed around a mock-up, a digital post titled The Real Numbers and Why They Still Matter. It included context. Facts. A quote from Adrian. And her own signature at the bottom. Silence. Then Adrian spoke, we post this by noon. No PR filter. Chloe's eyes narrowed. You're letting her speak for the company now? Adrian didn't flinch. Yes. And just like that the line was drawn. By noon, the post went live. Emily didn't look at the comments. She couldn't. But at 2:14 p.m., her phone buzzed. A DM from the same journalist who leaked the story. Didn't expect that kind of transparency. Respect. Then another. From someone she didn't know, thank you for not spinning. We see you. By 3 p.m., the tides were turning. The post was being shared. Quoted. Not as a scandal. But as a case study in honesty. At 5:30, Emily stepped into the elevator, exhausted. Just as the doors were about to close, Adrian slipped in. Neither said anything for a moment. Then he broke the silence. You saved us. Emily leaned against the wall. Don't say that. My imposter syndrome already thinks I forged all my wins. He glanced sideways. You're not an imposter. She smiled. Thanks. I'll tell my anxiety that. He chuckled. Actually chuckled. They stood quietly again. Then Adrian said, You wrote that line yourself? The closing? Yeah, it sounded like you. She blinked. Is that good or bad? It's rare, he said. Most people echo. You write. Emily looked at him. Not the CEO. Just a man who saw her. Really saw her. And in that moment, in that silver elevator, she didn't feel like a cleaner. She felt like a voice. A real one. Friday. Late. The office was mostly empty. Just a few keyboards clacking and the hum of the cleaning crew, her old team. Emily sat at her desk, cross-checking quarterly outreach numbers. Her eyes burned, but she didn't stop. This week had been fire. And somehow she'd walked through it. Across the room, Adrian's door was ajar. His jacket hung on the back of a chair, tie loosened. His laptop open, but untouched. He looked up as she walked in. You still working? She nodded. Trying to figure out how to make outreach numbers less boring. He gestured to the chair across from him. Sit. She hesitated. Then did. He leaned back. You know what today is? Friday? He smiled faintly. 3 weeks since you dropped a tray of champagne and crashed my speech. She laughed. Ah, the good old days. You've rewritten 3 press strategies since then. Helped manage a PR crisis. Changed the board's tone. I also broke the stapler. Again. He smirked. Noted. Then, quietly, you've become essential. Emily froze. No one had ever used that word for her before. Not in school. Not at old jobs. Definitely not in her cleaning shifts. Thank you, she said softly. He watched her for a second longer. Then added, "You're not the only one getting attention." She blinked. "Meaning?" "The press is watching again. There's buzz. Articles calling you the voice of real business." Emily sat back, stunned. He continued, "And investors like it. They want to know who you are. Where you came from. Should I tell them I used to clean bathrooms with lemon-scented regret?" Adrian laughed, a real one. But then his expression shifted. "They also ask, what's going on between us?" Silence. The kind that echoes in a glass-walled office. Emily's throat tightened. "And what do you tell them?" "That you're good at your job. That's all?" He nodded. "Because if I say more, I'd be lying to myself." She met his gaze. No jokes. No walls. Just two people, stuck somewhere between ambition and something messier. "Adrian. I'm not trying to climb through you," she said. "I'm here because I believe in what I do. And maybe a little bit in you too." He didn't move. Didn't speak. But his eyes, they said everything. "You should go," he finally said. She stood. Walked to the door. Then paused. "I don't need spotlights," she whispered. "Just the room to stand in one." Then left. Her heart pounding. Not because she was unsure, but because for the first time he was. Monday morning came without fanfare. No texts. No notes. No Adrian. Emily walked into the office and felt the weight of a quiet tension. Like everyone was holding their breath around her. She sat at her desk, stared at her inbox. New messages. New tasks. But nothing from him. She didn't expect romance. But she hadn't expected distance either. By noon, she was buried in edits when Chloe appeared like a shadow. "Heard he's flying to Zurich." Emily didn't look up. Cool. No announcement. No update. Just, gone. Funny, right? After all that hype. Emily kept typing. Chloe leaned closer. "They always go quiet when it gets personal. You scared him." Now she looked up. "I didn't come here to scare men. I came here to be seen." Chloe blinked. But Emily had already turned back to her screen. Later that day, she was summoned to a private meeting. Not with Adrian. With the board. She walked into the room where she'd once pitched her first big idea, only now, the air was colder. "We've reviewed your work," the chairwoman said. "Impressive results." Emily stayed quiet. "But concerns have been raised." "About what?" "Visibility. Focus. Influence. Some feel you've become a distraction." There it was. Not about her numbers. Not about her words. About presence. "Do you want me gone?" she asked. "No. But we need assurance. That your future here is tied to your merit, not your proximity to Mr. Black." Emily nodded. Then said simply, "Then measure me by what I build. Not by who notices." Silence. Then a quiet, "Fair enough." Meeting over. She stepped outside, heart hammering. She wasn't ashamed. But she was angry. Because no matter how far she climbed, someone would always question the ladder beneath her. Back at her desk, there was a note. Not typed. Handwritten. 2 words: Zurich. Back Thursday. No signature. No explanation. Just acknowledgement. She stared at it. Folded it. And tucked it into her wallet. Because maybe she didn't need saving. But being remembered? That mattered. Thursday. 9:01 a.m. Emily was in the break room, pouring generic coffee into a chipped mug when she heard the elevator ding. She didn't look. Didn't need to. But when she turned around, Adrian was there. No suitcase. No entourage. Just him. Same jacket. Same unreadable face. He walked toward her. Not fast. Measured. Careful. Zurich went well, she asked, voice even. Could have used a translator. And someone who doesn't flinch at Swiss cheese prices. She chuckled. Next time, pack your own snacks. He paused. Then I saw the board minutes. Emily set her mug down. They think I'm a liability. They think you're powerful. She raised an eyebrow. Is that a compliment? It's a truth. He stepped closer. I didn't leave because I was scared of you, he said. She crossed her arms. Then why? Because I didn't want to get in your way. Emily blinked. That, she didn't expect. He continued, you're changing things here. Not for me. Not because of me. But because you showed up and refused to disappear. Silence. Then he added, and I didn't want to be the reason they wrote you off. Her eyes stung. But she didn't look away. I didn't come here for you, Adrian, she said quietly. But somehow, you're part of the reason I stayed. He nodded. Not like a CEO. Like a man who finally understood. Then pulled something from his coat pocket. A pin. Small. Silver. Shaped like a spotlight. She frowned. What is that? The design team made them for the next gala. Spotlight Awards. Emily smiled. You stole one? No, he said. I asked who deserved the first. And? They said me. I disagreed. He reached for her hand. Placed the pin in her palm. You don't just clean up messes, Emily. You make people look. Really look. She looked down at the pin. Then up at him. You know, she whispered, you used to terrify me. I still might, he said. She laughed. Then hugged him. Quick. Warm. Real. 6 months later. The next gala came. Bigger venue. Better lighting. And one keynote speaker no one expected, Emily Torres. She stood at the mic. No mop. No blazer. Just a voice. And when she said, I used to clean these floors, the room went silent. But when she added, now I help design the blueprints, the room stood to applaud. At the edge of the crowd, Adrian watched. Proud. Still unreadable. But glowing. Because the girl who had once spilled champagne in front of 100 billionaires had just stolen the spotlight. For good. The end.